welcome today to this video for Mother's Day. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make some super quick, no recipe, you just throw them together, no recipe for some danishes for Mother's Day. And they come together super easy and just take very few ingredients. So you're going to need some puff pastry. You just find this in the freezer section of your grocery store. And this is like the typical brand, the Pepperidge Farm, so look for that. And then you're going to need a block of cream cheese. You're going to need some sugar, some vanilla, and then you kind of have a couple options. You can either go with some like preserves or jam, or you can go with frozen fruit. Either one will work. And let's get into this project. So the first thing you want to do is you want your puff pastry to be thawed. You can either do this in the fridge, or if you're like me and you just can't plan ahead to save your life, then according to these package directions and other package directions, typically you can wrap it in a paper towel, microwave it for 15 seconds. You just want to be careful because this is like made of butter. And if you melt it, it'll be a huge mess and it'll be ruined. So I'm gonna quick just get this ready to go and then we'll get into our project. Okay, so my puff pastry is ready to go. I'm gonna work on my cream cheese filling. I do not eat a Danish without cream cheese, so that's what I'm gonna work on. So I have a block of cream cheese here, and I'm just gonna add some sugar. Like I said, this is a no recipe, so if I were to guess, I would say third cup, half cup. That's what I love about this, and I don't know, maybe you guys don't like cooking like this. You'll have to let me know in the comments, but just chuck some sugar in there. It's cream cheese and sugar, like it'll be okay. And then same thing with the vanilla, just adding in a splash, so maybe like tablespoon-ish. And then grabbing my spatula, and I'm just gonna mix this up. You obviously want the cream cheese to be softened if you're gonna mix it by hand, and you're just mashing it all around until that combines, and then we'll be ready to put these danishes together. And by the way, I don't plan ahead for anything. So this cream cheese was not softened before. I did pop it in the microwave for about 15 seconds. Yeah, you can plan ahead or you can just microwave it. Okay, my cream cheese mixture has come together. It's honestly still a little lumpy, and that's okay. When it bakes in the oven, you really can't tell the difference. So I'm just gonna stop there. And I'm gonna get onto the pastry. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take the cookie sheet that I'm gonna bake them on. Now often I use parchment paper just to make cleanup easier, but I'm out. How can that always be? But anyway, so I'm gonna take my puff pastry here, and that box comes with 2 sheets, and that's pretty typical. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna unfold it, and what I'm doing and the way I make these, although there's like a million ways to make them, is just to take each sheet and cut it into 9 squares. Okay, you can use a chef's knife. This is just like a bench scraper, but okay, so I'll just be going along the seams. This is just a super simple, we're not doing anything crazy here. And in fact, it still can be a little bit frozen. It just has to be thawed enough to get it open. So you guys can hear it's still just a little bit frozen, and that won't be a problem. So I'm just gonna cut along the seams since they're there, like so and like so. And again, you can use a knife if you need it. And then I'm just gonna go into 3 squares. And again, this doesn't have to be perfect. The whole point of this is just to have something to share with your mom or your mother figure, or really anybody. If this is not Mother's Day, you can still make these. And just something quick that you don't have to think much about. So I have 9 squares here. I'm able to fit 1 puff pastry sheet per sheet pan, just to make sure that it has the room to crisp up. So anyway, I'm just gonna start with this for now. And what I do now is I grab my cream cheese mixture and I grab 2 spoons. You could use like a cookie scoop if you had a small enough one. Mine are all gonna be too big for this. So you really want like about a ½ tablespoon size. If you get too much, it'll overflow and it'll make a mess, and none of it will be on the pastry. So you'll just want a ½ tablespoon, teaspoon, ½ tablespoon, something like that. And again, like I love this cream cheese stuff, but if you put too much, it's not going to end up on your pastry. It's gonna melt off. So be careful about that. And I'm just gonna keep putting little dabs of this cream cheese mixture on, and then we'll get to the fruit. Now it's time for fruit. Now I usually do a mix. So when I bake this pan, I like to do a mix. So some will just be plain cream cheese. That's definitely what some people in my family prefer, and I really like them a lot too. Now, I'm going to show you how you can do both the jam and the fruit. So if you do the fresh fruit, or if you do the frozen fruit, although you could do fresh fruit too, it's not going to be quite as sweet. All you're going to do is you're just going to take your fruit, and you won't fit quite as much fruit flavor. But anyway, it's a simple way to do it. And just to press the frozen fruit into the cream cheese, and that will work just fine. You can do it that way. And here's some raspberries. This is kind of a mix of frozen fruit here. Now moving on to the jam ones, just gonna put a small spoonful of jam on top of the cream cheese, quite simple. And again, you don't wanna put too much of this, just like with the cream cheese. Let's do some cherry ones. And if you're wondering, what else could I use these preserves for? Go check out my Mayday basket video. Even though Mayday is over, it has some great cake jars in it that use these preserves as a great shortcut. But anyway, I'm just gonna put a little dab, maybe like a teaspoon, and I'm kind of pressing it on top of the cream cheese. I want it kind of in the middle of that. And these ones, yeah, are cherry, like I said. You can do whatever you like, whatever you have on hand. Hopefully you like what you have on hand. Okay, and okay, strawberry sounds good to me. We'll do a few strawberry and then we'll leave a few plain. That's it. Again, this is not really a recipe, it's a no recipe. Take an egg, I'm gonna crack it into a little bowl, give it a quick whisk, and then I'm gonna brush it on. Now, just a really random side note, if you use like a really quality egg, like a farm fresh egg, it'll almost make this like orange, which I've done before at my parents' house. They have chickens and it can kind of make it orange. So yeah, I still make it with it, but just a heads up. All right, so now I'm just gonna brush. I'm gonna brush just around the filling. So I'm not gonna brush the filling. I think that's obvious, but if it's not, it is now. And then you're just brushing, and this will make it nice and golden. Go ahead and do the egg wash on all of these, and then I'm gonna pop them in the oven, and I'll meet you back with some highly delicious pastries. So the pastries are out of the oven. I'll show them to you in just a second. We're gonna quick whip up a little glaze, and it's super simple. Again, this is like a no recipe, so you're just gonna take some powdered sugar, and we're gonna add some heavy cream. Now you could use milk as well, and that would work just fine. So I'm just scooping some powdered sugar in here. It takes way less milk or cream than powdered sugar, so I just fill the bowl nice and full here, and then just add a little splash of cream, and then mix that up, and then it'll look kind of dry, and it could be dry, but usually it'll look dry for a while, and you'll mix for a while, and it'll all come together. So add a little more cream if you need it, but be careful not to add too much. So I'm just gonna get this mixed up together, and then we'll make the danishes. Okay, and I'm actually gonna switch to a whisk here just to get these lumps out. It's looking really yummy. Okay, everything looks good, and let's bring the danishes over. Here are the danishes. They've cooled for about 10-15 minutes. You can see they're nice and golden on the bottom, and they've kind of cooled, so they're warm. They're not room temperature yet, but they're kind of set up in the middle. You can see the difference between this is a jam one, and this is a frozen fruit one. So there's kind of that side by side there. This is the frozen fruit, and this is the jam. So they're both delicious, and again, super beautiful golden on the brown, super beautifully golden brown on the bottom. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring in this glaze, and this is just gonna bring it all together. So I'm just gonna drizzle it, and I'm just gonna use my whisk to do it. And yeah, that's it. Just give it a quick drizzle. And now this is about the time you're gonna wanna get your French press going, get your scrambled eggs if you're into that kind of thing. And super simple breakfast, or like brunchish, or like just a treat to have in the afternoon, whatever this day looks like for you. And super yummy. So, and I'm just doing this pretty haphazardly. You could put it in a piping bag, you could use a spoon, but the whole point is that these are super easy. So, okay, so these are the pastries. I hope you enjoy them. I hope you give them a try. I really do think they're just a great option for Mother's Day. Super low key, something special to make for mom, but the most important thing is that you spend time with her. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, hit subscribe. And I would love to hear in the comments what you are going to do for Mother's Day. So have a good week, and I'll see you later. Bye.